Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Natasha and I'm here to provide you with all of your hair care tips and tricks. And for today, I wanted to head back to the basics. I want to teach you all about braiding. So we are going to start with simple braids. I want to share with you 4 basic braids that you can then use to create other styles, follow an updo tutorial, whatever the case may be. But in order to include or replicate a braid, you first need to know how to braid, right? So we're gonna go back to the basics and we are going to learn how to do 4 basic braids. The first one being your standard 3-strand braid. The second being a French braid. Third, a Dutch braid, and fourth, a fishtail braid. I want to try and make this as easy as possible to follow so that you can use these tips and tricks and techniques in order to include braids in any other style you might want to try. This tutorial isn't going to be incorporating a braid into anything necessarily. It's just going to be the simple how-to on how to create a basic braid first so that then you can use it in other things later. If you're joining me from the style guide, thank you so much for being here. If you have no idea what I'm talking about and have no idea what a style guide is, I've created a style guide. This guy right here, excuse the ring light reflection. There, no, okay, angled, there we go. So it is a style guide and it's basically a step-by-step instruction on how to create these 4 different braids. There is information on what you'll need and what we'll be doing, and then there's even photo guides to follow. It's a whole guide to help teach you how to basic braid. In the video today, I will be doing these braids toward the front. I'll just be using this section right here, just so you can easily follow. And I feel when you're first learning and practicing, it's actually easier to start in the front rather than trying to do things behind your head. However, if you are following along with the guide does have back photos. So as you can see right there, it is photos of me braiding from behind my head. So you'll have 2 different angles to look from in case you feel like you are good in the front, you know how to do it like that, and you want to try it in the back. And the last one can get a little bit, I don't want to say tricky, but it's easy to kind of forget which strand went where. So having this photo guide might help you out there. So let's just jump right into it. Enough with the long introductions. If you want this style guide in order to follow along, head down in the description box below. There will be a link in order for you to go and grab that. It is 100% totally free just for you so that you can have it on the go whenever you are out and about and find yourself in need of a braid and forget how to do it. So there you go. It's down in the description box below. You can go and click that right there and download it. All right, let's just jump right into it, shall we? Okay, so we're gonna start with the 3-strand braid. Very simple. We're just gonna take this section right here. I'm not gonna use all of my hair either, just so that I can kind of show you. So I'm just gonna use this strand right here, the section I should say, right here. And what you're gonna do is separate your hair into 3 even sections, as even as you can. When you're practicing, evenness doesn't really matter, but you really want to, when you're incorporating it into a final look of something, you wanna try and get them as even as possible. Otherwise, your final look will be a little unbalanced. 3 sections. So this middle section's a little smaller and this one's a little bigger. So there we go. Something like that. So 1, 2, and 3. And to do a 3-strand braid, all you have to do is take your, you can start on either side. Basically, you will take your right strand or your left strand first, whichever one you want. I'll go right first. So you'll take your right and place it over the middle. So your right strand now becomes your middle strand. Next, you're gonna take your left strand and put that over the middle. And it now becomes your new middle. And again, you'll take the right over the middle and left over the middle. And you're just gonna continue that pattern all the way down. Just like that. And there you go. You have yourself a very simple, very easy 3-strand braid. Super simple, very easy to do. If you want to just take all of your hair, I didn't because I just wanted to show you, but if you wanted to take all of your hair and sweep it over your shoulder and put it in a 3-strand braid, tie it off at the end, such an easy hairstyle, right? So easy. And next, to zhuzh it up a little, just to fancy it up and give you a little something extra, I'm gonna teach you how to pancake a braid. This is also in your style guide, but a visual is sometimes a little easier to follow. To pancake a braid, so easy. Hold on to your ends. It's actually easier if you pancake it as you go, but for the sake of just teaching you the basic ins and outs, we'll do it with it already finished. So hold on to your ends, and you can pick whether you want to start at the top or the bottom. I tend to usually go over each piece a few times anyways, so you can start either or, but like I said, if you're pancaking as you go, if you know ahead of time, like I definitely want this pulled apart and bigger, then it doesn't really matter, but at the very end, you may still have to adjust some pieces here and there. So anyways, basically, pick a section that either the top or the bottom. I'll start at the bottom. And if you have very silky, straight, soft hair, this might be a little difficult, so I suggest using a texture spray of some sort. My favorite right now is by Design Me. It's called the Puff Me Texturizer Spray, but the Redken Windblown is also very good. There's a few other really good ones out there, but anyways, basically, if you need the extra texture because your hair just completely pulls apart, texture spray is the way to go. But anyways, moving on. Okay, so I'll start at the bottom. And a mistake that most people make is they'll take this whole little loop thing and pull this whole section out, right? And it gives you like this little hole. Not what we want to do. So in order to properly pancake a braid so that that doesn't happen, what you're gonna do is actually just take the very edge of your braid, of your one little section here, the very edge, and just pull very lightly, and then go to the one on top of that, just the edge, and pull. And again, and do it all the way up. And then switch to the other side. You really want to hold the bottom with some tension. If you just let go, you're going to pull the whole thing apart. You can even put it in an elastic first if you want. It's totally up to you. But just take your sections little by little. You don't want to go too crazy right away because, again, you might pull something out that you don't mean to. And then just kind of go over it where you feel like, oh, this didn't pull out enough, or the one above pulled out too much, so now I gotta pull the one below it a little bit more. And you can braid hair wet or dry. However, you can't really pancake a wet braid. It doesn't really pull apart the same. But there you go. That's how you pancake a braid. And basically it just makes it look way bigger. And that works really, really great if you have fine hair and your braids look like they're itty bitty. You can just throw in some texture spray, then pull it apart as much as you can and end up looking like you have a ton more hair than you actually do. It's great. And when you're doing a 3-strand braid, the way that I started, and I went right over middle and left over middle, if you wanted to do under first, you could do that as well. So I'll just quickly show you what that looks like. So 3 sections. So instead of taking this piece and going over, and this piece and going over, what you could do is take this piece and go under. Then this piece and go under, under, under. And the only difference it's gonna make is depending where you put your braid, which hair is gonna be pulled kind of where. So now this piece in front of my face is pulled a bit tighter, whereas before, because it was over, it kind of didn't have this tucking effect. So that's really all it's gonna do when it comes to a regular 3-strand braid, when you're not incorporating any new hair or anything like that. That's all it's really gonna do, but your final result does look basically exactly the same. Okay, so that was our 3-strand braid. Next, we're going to move on to the French braid. So this is your French braid section of the guide. It's about 2 pages. No, it is 1 page. But a French braid is very similar to a 3-strand braid. The only difference is instead of grabbing all the hair at once like I did, you're gonna just grab a small bit, like a smaller section, just like this. It's even too big. Okay, so you're gonna grab a smaller section, just like this, and then again, separate that into 3 equal parts. 1, 2, 3. And the difference here is every time you go over the middle, you're gonna pick up new hair. So I typically start the first one just regular. So 1 over and over. And then now as of this piece, every time I go over the middle, I'm gonna take a new section of hair and add it to that new middle section. If you find it easier to pick up new hair first, you can do that too. So I'll show you what that looks like. So if right now I have to put this piece into the middle, I can always hold this piece in my pinky with my index and my thumb, pick up some new hair, and then add that whole section in. So that's one way to do it. And then cross it over. And if you want to cross it over first, I like to hold the middle strand, the current middle, with my index and thumb. Open my middle finger to grab the strand that's going to be crossing. Hold the strand down. Then I'll pick up my new strand of hair with my other hand and cross it over and open my middle finger and add it in. And again, over, add hair, over, add hair. Again, you can do this wet on your wet hair or your dry hair, totally up to you. And when you're done, you're gonna want to secure it with an elastic. Show you what that looks like. There you go. So this is a French braid. I actually kind of like it in the front like this. Not bad, kind of cute. But basically it just kind of all tucks underneath. And then your end is just a regular 3-strand braid. So once you run out of hair to add to your strands, you just continue down the bottom like a regular 3-strand braid, easy peasy. There you have it. You can then pancake the tail end if you want, but you can't really pancake the top part because it looks more tucked under. If you wanted to pancake the whole thing, like those Pinterest pictures you see of those giant crown braids and things like that, that's a Dutch braid. And that's what we're doing next. So let's move on to a Dutch braid. So a Dutch braid, very, very similar to a French braid. However, remember how I said with a 3-strand braid, you could go over or under? Well, a French braid goes over and a Dutch braid goes under. So again, you're gonna start out with just your small section of hair, just like this. And you're going to separate it into 3 equal parts. 1, 2, 3. And again, you can start with the left or the right first, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And the difference now is that after you have your 3 sections, instead of going over the middle, you're gonna go under the middle. And exactly like a French braid, every time you go under, you're gonna add hair. So again, I like to start it off with just a regular braid, just like that. And then start adding hair. And don't mind this little sparkly bit here. I offer a new service at the salon and it's called Goddess Glitter, and basically it is exactly what it sounds or looks like. It's tinsel for your hair. So you tie individual pieces of glitter tinsel to individual pieces of hair and you sparkle your little life away. And I love it and it's amazing. And I want my entire head to be covered in that. So if you're in the Ottawa area and you want to shine bright like a diamond, reach out. Let's add Goddess Glitter to your hair. Okay. So as you can see, as I'm going down, you can already see the difference, right? Like the Dutch braid looks like it's sitting on top of my hair, whereas a French braid looks like it's tucked underneath. And again, once you run out of hair to add, just regular 3-strand braid it to the bottom and secure it with an elastic. All right, and there you have it, a Dutch braid. And it looks a little more three-dimensional, it's a little more textured, it sits on top rather than being hidden underneath. Awesome, especially if you want that big giant braid effect, because these are the types of braids that you can pancake all the way to the top. So let's just see what that would look like, shall we? And again, you're only pulling the edges. You're not pulling the whole section, because if you pull out the whole section, you're gonna end up with little holes. Don't pull out entire loops, just pull out edges. Edges only. And look at that. Just a giant braid. But basically, for a Dutch braid, this is how you do it. All right, let's move on to our fourth and final braid. So just to show you here, this is the Dutch braid page, and the last one is the fishtail page. Are you ready to fishtail braid? This one looks hard, and it's not that it's hard, it's that it is tedious. Okay, so let's just use the front again. Okay, the fishtail braid, here we go. You're gonna separate this into two sections. That's right, only two, 1, 2. Now, because this is just like a standard fishtail, just like the 3-strand braid, if you wanna go over first or under first, you can do that. If you wanna start on the left or right, doesn't matter. So what you're gonna do is take a small section from the outside of one of your strands, put it over, cross it over, that same strand that you just took it from, and add it to the inside of your other strand. See how it's crossing over, and now it's in the middle of this one? Just like that. And then you're gonna do the same on this side. Take a small section, cross it over, and add it to the middle. And you're just gonna do that all the way down. So again, just to show you, small section, cross over, add it to the middle. Small section from the outside, cross it over, and add it to the middle. And you want to try and take pretty small sections, because if you go too big with your sections, it'll end up actually just looking like a 3-strand braid, even though it's not. It won't look exactly like a 3-strand braid, but the smaller the section, the more intricate and more scaly it kind of looks. If it's too big of pieces that you're grabbing, it doesn't have the same effect, I don't find. Some people don't mind, they will take giant sections, because like I said, it's tedious. The smaller the section too, the longer it takes, my friend. This braid is not for people in a rush, let me tell you that. You can also, if you wanted to, you can French braid this. You can also, so if you start it up here rather than down here, and you can also Dutch braid it, and you can also pancake them. To pancake a fishtail, I honestly kind of just start pulling it apart, because if I was to go in and grab every single little tiny individual strand that I crossed over to turn into a scale, you know how long that would take? Oh my God, that would take forever. Little bit further. Okay, we're gonna end it there so I can show you what it looks like. So it's a lot more of a tight braid than the others, but if you look closely, do you see how it looks a little more like scales than the other braids? And so to pancake this, honestly, I just kind of like pull it apart. It's like, have at it, live your best life. Maybe start with one side at a time, holding the bottom so you have that grip to be able to actually pull it. But this one, don't be afraid that you're gonna create like loops and holes and stuff, because it's so tight and they're so small, the strands are so small, chances are pretty slim. So you really just wanna like yank at it. Again, try only grabbing the edges. Like, I'm not grabbing one single piece and pulling on it. I'm grabbing like the edges of everything, just kind of pulling it apart. And look at that! Look how cool! They're cool, okay? They're so cool. Time consuming, but they're cool. I love them. And there you have it. There is a fishtail braid. I hope that was easy to follow. I hope all of these were easy to follow. So once you get good in the front and you're like, yeah, I've got this down, I know what I'm doing, then you can start doing them in different directions. You can do them at the back, you can do it on this side, you can do one down the middle, you can do all kinds of cool things with braids. I hope that this was semi-easy to follow. Again, if you want it, there is the style guide to go with it. You can download it in the description box below. It is 100% totally free. It is just created for you to be able to follow along. If visuals in photographs are more your thing, the style guide is there for you. If visualizing it through video and following along is easier, that's what this is for. But it's there, this is there, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. I want to do more videos like this. I will have more style guides coming out. I'm hoping to do about one a month for the entire year of 2020. So stay tuned. I'm going to share so many cool tips and tricks and styles and things with you. Let me know in the comments below what kind of styles or things you would like to see in a style guide and in a video. Not every video is going to have a style guide to go along with it. Just saying that right now. But please join the email list. Hit that link down below. Join the email list so that you can get style guides whenever they come out, hopefully once a month. And don't forget to like and subscribe and all those YouTube-y thingies that you need to do. Hit the bell because apparently that's important now. All the YouTubers that I watch say that the bell's important. So hit the bell. And thank you so much for watching. I hope that this helped and I hope you have a wonderful new year.